Listen, I need you to pay very close attention to what I'm about to share with you today, because what I discovered hidden in the words you've been praying your entire life is going to change everything you thought you knew about provision, about wealth, about God's promises to His children. For over 8 decades, I've studied the sacred texts. I've pored over ancient manuscripts in languages most people have never heard of. And what I found buried in the most familiar prayer in all of Christianity, the prayer you probably learned as a child, this discovery shook me to my core. Before we go any further, I want you to do something for me right now. If you've been struggling financially, if you've been praying for a breakthrough but nothing seems to change, if you feel like God has forgotten about you, I want you to click that like button. Not for me, for yourself. Because that simple action tells the universe, tells God, tells your own spirit that you're ready to receive what's been waiting for you. And listen, in the comments section below, I want you to type these 3 words, my needs met. Just those 3 words, my needs met. This is your declaration. This is you activating the principle I'm about to reveal to you. Now, if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, click that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Because what I share here isn't just religious theory. This is practical, life-changing wisdom that people your age desperately need to hear. You know what breaks my heart? I meet people every single day who have been faithful their entire lives, good people, praying people, people who raised their children in the church, who tithed when they could barely afford it, who believed every promise in the Bible, and yet they're terrified. At 70 years old, they're afraid to check their bank balance. At 65, they're choosing between medications and groceries. At 80, they're wondering if they'll become a burden to their children. You've prayed the Lord's Prayer thousands of times, maybe tens of thousands. Give us this day our daily bread. You've said those words at church, at the dinner table, at your bedside in the quiet darkness of the night. You meant them. You believed them. So why hasn't it worked? Why are you still struggling? Why does it feel like that prayer bounces off the ceiling and goes nowhere? Let me tell you something that might surprise you. It's not your fault. Nobody taught you how that prayer actually works. Nobody showed you the hidden mechanism built right into those ancient words. A mechanism that, when properly understood and activated, becomes an unstoppable force for financial breakthrough. I'm 83 years old. I've seen economic depressions, recessions, market crashes. I've watched good people lose everything, and I've also watched certain people who understood this secret, thrive no matter what was happening in the world around them. The pain you're feeling right now, the sleepless nights, the anxiety that grips your chest when another bill arrives, that's real. I'm not going to minimize it. I'm not going to tell you to just have more faith or pray harder. You've already tried that. What I'm going to show you is why your prayers haven't been working, and more importantly, how to pray the Lord's Prayer the way Jesus actually intended it to be prayed. Because when you understand this, everything changes. Not someday, not in heaven, right now, in your bank account, in your mailbox, in your everyday material reality. Now let me take you back 2,000 years. I want you to see something that happened that most people completely miss when they read the gospel accounts. Picture this scene with me. Jesus is on a mountainside. His disciples are gathered close. These are working men, fishermen, tax collectors, ordinary people with ordinary financial struggles, and they come to him with a question that's been burning in their hearts. Lord, teach us to pray. Think about that for a moment. They didn't say, teach us theology. They didn't say, explain doctrine to us. They said, teach us to pray, because they'd watched him. They'd seen something in the way he prayed that was different. They'd witnessed the results, and they wanted to know the secret. So Jesus gives them what we now call the Lord's Prayer. But here's what you need to understand. This wasn't just a nice collection of spiritual thoughts. This was a formula, a precise spiritual technology, if you will. Every single word, every phrase, every request was placed in a specific order for a specific reason. The Jewish rabbis of that time, they understood something that's been lost in modern Christianity. They knew that Hebrew words carry weight, carry power, carry creative force, the very same force that spoke the universe into existence. In Hebrew, we have this concept called kavana. It means intention, direction, focus. It's not just saying words, it's aligning your entire being, your mind, your heart, your spirit, with the meaning behind the words. When Jesus taught this prayer, he wasn't giving them something to recite mindlessly. He was giving them the key to unlock heaven's storehouse. But that key only works when you understand what you're actually asking for. Let's look at the part everyone thinks they understand. Give us this day our daily bread. Most people pray that and think, okay, God, I'm asking for enough to get by. Just help me survive another day. That's poverty thinking disguised as humility. That's not what Jesus said at all. The original word translated as daily is epiousion in Greek. You know how many times that word appears in ancient Greek literature? Once. Right here. Scholars have debated its meaning for 2,000 years because it's not a common word. It's special. It's unique. Some translators believe it means for the coming day. Others say it means necessary for existence. But there's another interpretation, one that ancient Hebrew scholars understood. It means supernatural provision, bread that comes from above, provision that transcends natural limitation. You see, when you pray, "Give us this day our daily bread," you're not begging for scraps. You're activating a divine promise of supernatural supply. You're aligning yourself with the same force that fed 5,000 people with 5 loaves and 2 fish. The same force that made water into wine. The same force that has multiplied resources throughout all of human history. But here's the critical part most people miss. Look at what comes right before that line. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. In heaven, is there lack? In heaven, are the righteous struggling and stressed about money? In heaven, do God's children go without? Of course not. So when you pray, on earth as it is in heaven, you're calling that same abundance down into your physical reality. This isn't metaphor. This isn't symbolic. Jesus meant it literally. Heaven's economy operates on completely different principles than earth's economy, and he was teaching his disciples how to access heaven's economy while still living on earth. Now let me show you the proof. Let me show you the pattern that runs through Scripture, through history, and through the lives of people living right now in your time. Look at Elijah and the widow of Zarephath. There's a famine in the land. This woman is down to her last meal, literally gathering sticks to cook one final piece of bread for herself and her son before they die. That's not religious exaggeration. That's what the text says. She's preparing to die. And Elijah shows up and asks her to make him a cake first. Outrageous, right? Offensive, even. But he gives her a promise. The jar of flour shall not go empty, nor the jug of oil run dry, until the day that the Lord sends rain upon the earth. What happened? She acted in faith. She gave from her lack. And that jar of flour and that jug of oil never ran out, not for days, not for weeks, for months, during the entire famine, supernatural provision. Or look at the Psalms. David writes in Psalm 37:25, I have been young and now am old, yet I have not seen the righteous forsaken or his children begging for bread. That's not poetry. That's testimony. That's a man who lived 80 years saying, I have never seen God abandon his faithful ones. But David doesn't just leave it there. Look at Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Not I shall want less. Not, I shall be content with wanting. I shall not want. No lack. Complete provision. He makes me lie down in green pastures. Not brown, dried up, barely surviving pastures. Green, abundant, rich. He leads me beside still waters. Not turbulent, anxious waters. Still, peaceful, restful provision. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Think about that image. Your enemies, debt, lack, poverty, recession, they're watching, and God sets a feast in front of you, not hidden away, not in private, right in front of the very things that have been tormenting you. My cup overflows, not half full, not just enough, overflowing. More than you need, abundance. This is the pattern. This is what God does for those who understand how to align with His provision. Now let me tell you about 3 people who discovered this truth. Real people, modern people, people just like you. Margaret was 72 years old, living on Social Security that barely covered her rent. Her husband had passed away 5 years earlier, leaving medical bills that consumed their savings. She was rationing her heart medication, skipping doses to make it last longer. That's how desperate things had become. Someone taught her what I'm teaching you today. She started praying the Lord's Prayer differently, not as a ritual, as an activation. Every morning she would pray each line with kavana, with intention, with understanding of what she was actually asking for. Within 3 weeks, she received a call from an attorney. A distant relative she'd never met had passed away and left her an inheritance. $47,000, enough to pay off every debt, buy her medications for years, and have cushion left over. Coincidence? Let me tell you about Robert. Robert was 68, facing foreclosure on the home he'd lived in for 30 years. The bank had given him 60 days. He'd tried everything. Loans denied. Family couldn't help. He was literally packing boxes, preparing to move into his daughter's basement. He learned this method. He began praying with understanding. He spoke those words, "Give us this day our daily bread," knowing he was activating supernatural provision. 41 days later, his phone rang. A developer wanted to buy the 3 acres behind his property. The price? Enough to pay off his mortgage completely and give him a comfortable retirement fund. The developer had been searching for that specific piece of land for 2 years and had just discovered Robert owned it. Then there's Patricia, 76 years old, widowed, living with her daughter because she couldn't afford her own place. She felt like such a burden. The shame was eating her alive. She started praying correctly. Within 2 months, she got a notice from the Veterans Administration. Her late husband's service entitled her to benefits she'd never claimed. They sent her a check for $33,000 in back benefits, plus monthly payments moving forward. She has her own apartment now, her dignity restored, her independence back. You see the pattern? You see how this works? These aren't people who won the lottery. They activated a spiritual law. They aligned with kingdom provision. Now let me show you exactly how to do this yourself. I'm going to give you the step-by-step method that unlocks this prayer's full power. Step 1. Find a quiet place every morning. Before you check your phone, before you turn on the TV, before the worries of the day flood in, just you and God, 5 minutes, that's all it takes. Step 2. Begin by declaring, out loud, I am a child of the King. I am an heir to the kingdom. Heaven's resources are my inheritance. Say it even if you don't feel it. You're reprogramming years of poverty thinking. Step 3. Pray the Lord's Prayer line by line, but pause after each phrase. Let me show you how. Our Father, who art in heaven. Stop. Think about what that means. The Creator of the universe, the one who owns everything, calls you His child. Sit with that for a moment. Hallowed be thy name. Stop. You're acknowledging His power, His authority, His ability to provide. You're recognizing that nothing is too difficult for Him. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Stop. This is critical. Picture heaven's abundance. Picture the wealth, the overflow, the complete absence of lack. Now speak this line as a command. Let heaven's abundance manifest in my life right now, in my physical circumstances, in my bank account, in my material reality. Give us this day our daily bread. Stop. Now you're not begging, you're receiving. Say it like this. Thank you for my supernatural provision today. Thank you for resources that exceed my natural circumstances. Thank you for bread from heaven. Step 4. After you pray, sit in silence for 2 minutes. Don't fill this time with more words. Just receive. Imagine yourself receiving. Feel what it would feel like to check your mailbox and find unexpected money. Feel what it would feel like to have more than enough. Step 5. Throughout the day, every time worry tries to creep in, quote Psalm 23:1. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Say it out loud if you can, think it if you can't, but use it to interrupt the anxiety. Step 6. Before bed, write down one thing that happened that day that could be interpreted as provision. Maybe someone bought you coffee. Maybe you found a quarter. Maybe a bill was less than expected. Train your eyes to see provision. What you focus on multiplies. Step 7. Once a week, give something away. It can be small, $5 to someone who needs it, a meal to a neighbor, but activate the flow. Provision is like water. It has to move. When you dam it up, it stagnates. When you let it flow through you, more flows to you. Now let me tell you what to expect, because this works in a specific pattern. Days 1 through 3. You probably won't see any external changes yet, but internally, something shifts. You'll feel lighter. The anxiety lessens. This is the spiritual atmosphere beginning to change. Days 4 through 7. You'll start noticing small things, unexpected refunds, finding money you forgot about, small provisions that seem like coincidences. They're not. This is the law beginning to activate. Days 8 through 14. Larger opportunities start appearing. Someone mentions a program you qualify for. You get a call about something you'd forgotten about. Doors begin to open. Days 15 through 30. This is when the major breakthroughs typically happen. The big check, the inheritance, the unexpected contract, the debt forgiven. This is when heaven's abundance crashes into earth's economy. After 30 days, provision becomes your new normal. You're no longer surprised by overflow. You expect it. You live from it. The fear is gone because you've proven the principle. But I need to tell you something important. This isn't magic. This isn't name it and claim it nonsense. This is aligning yourself with a spiritual law that's been operating since before the foundation of the world. God's provision is already there. It's already set aside for you. The problem is, most people never access it because they don't know how. They pray weak prayers from a poverty mindset, and they get poverty results. But when you pray with understanding, with kavana, with the knowledge of what you're actually doing, you're not trying to convince God to give you something. You're opening yourself to receive what He's already prepared for you. In Hebrew, there's a word, shefa. It means divine abundance, overflow, the unstoppable flow of heaven's provision. It's not earned. It's not deserved based on your works. It flows to those who position themselves to receive it. That's what Jesus was teaching on that mountainside. That's what the disciples discovered. That's what Margaret and Robert and Patricia experienced. And that's what's waiting for you. Listen to me. You've been faithful your whole life. You've prayed for decades. You've believed even when it was hard to believe. But nobody taught you how to pray this prayer correctly. Nobody showed you the mechanism hidden in plain sight. I'm showing you now. Your breakthrough isn't years away. It's not waiting until you get to heaven. It's waiting for you to activate it. 30 days. Follow this method exactly as I've described it for 30 days and watch what God does. Remember what I told you to type in the comments? My needs met. Go do that right now if you haven't already. That's your declaration. That's your activation. And here's my blessing for you. May the God who fed Elijah by ravens, who multiplied the widow's oil, who rained manna from heaven, who owns the cattle on 1,000 hills, may that same God open the windows of heaven over your life. May supernatural provision chase you down and overtake you. May you never again know lack or want or fear about your finances. This is Rabbi Shimon, and I want you to know something. I didn't share this message by accident. You didn't find this video by coincidence. This is your moment. This is your breakthrough beginning. Listen to this teaching, apply these principles, and your bank account will never be empty again. May God bless you and keep you. May His face shine upon you and give you peace. And may His provision overflow in your life starting today.